Radio is scripted now. We just come up with it. We don't use computers. We don't rehearse. We're going to talk about this next. We're going to talk about them. We're going to talk about the Bulls. And then we're going to have Brad Biggs on. And then we're going to have all this. No. If you don't know what you're going to talk about in the top of your head before a show, you shouldn't be in the business. I don't know what you got. I feel like Vince Vaughn in a couple's retreat. The Sharks are circling. Old school, baby.
You're listening to the Mike North Advantage, and it begins right now.
That's right. The Mike North Advantage starts right now. I am Aldo Gandia, Mike's wingman, and there he is in living color, everybody. Mike North, how are you, my friend?
It's been too long, my friend. It's been too long. Happy, congratulations, Grandpa. I understand you have a new addition to the family, so that's absolutely great. And we'll let you talk about the little dumpling in a minute. Also, your mom is not doing well, so you're going through a roller coaster right now of emotions. So I just want to say that I hope everything works out. But you know how life is, Eldo. Sometimes, you know what? You hear about people that are moving on, and then you hear about new ones that are coming in. So it's a change. But hopefully your mom, things work out for her. But in the meantime, you have is it daughter?
It's a grandson. His name is
right.
Jackson.
I should have known by the chin. I should have known by the chin from the picture you sent me. Right. What is the name?
Jackson Ray, Jaxon, and then my daughter adopted my middle name, Ray, and so it's Jackson Ray Witt, and she is very, very happy. The kid is adorable, sleeps all day and sleeps all night too. How about that for a good kid?
Well, that's sort of like me now, but that's beside the point. You know, I mean, we come in sleeping, we go out sleeping. What can I tell you? But congratulations, and also hope that your mom feels better. Say congratulations to Donna and the whole Gandia family, my friend.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. But what isn't wonderful is I've been away too long. Oh, yeah. I've been away too long, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to set some people straight on a lot of different things that are going on. And the nonsense I'm hearing coming out of Bear Camp, and the nonsense I'm hearing about people that is coming out of Pittsburgh camp. And, you know, it's just, I had to get on soon. Now we're going to have a little meeting afterwards. We're going to decide how we're going to be on, how long we're going to be on, what day we're going to be on. But it's good we're doing this today because I just want to refresh everybody's memory, okay, that I'm the only guy that stood up for Mitch Trubisky, okay? And I will continue to be the only guy for some reason that everybody else thinks that he's going to be, once again, a bum. He's proven everybody wrong every time. And then I hear nonsense like Adam Schefter saying, well, you know what? I talk to people. Yeah, you talk to imaginary people sometimes. Okay? And my sources tell me that's some more imaginary people sometimes. You have yet, I'm waiting for the first anniversary of you to name somebody that actually, by name, that actually told you something. But here's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that if Mitch Trubisky stumbles once, can you imagine how many times Adam Schefter stumbled various parts of his career and was given opportunities, and the times that he may have been wrong that people know about? And there's been times he's been right. The one stumble, and he's smirking. It's always been against Trubisky for some reason. And I'm going to call some people out today and reaffirm my position on Mitch Trubisky. Okay? Then we'll get to the Bears. Because all I ever heard, and don't try to BS me, because I've been doing this for 30 years. By the way, folks, 70 years old coming up September 10th.
Holy moly, baby! Yes.
And I was told today on Twitter I'm at the tail end of my career. I was told that in 92 when I started. You got 6 months. You got 8 months. Then it went to, you got 3 years. You got 5 years. You got 10 years. So I was told that. I've been told that go back and sell hot dogs. I didn't know which career he was talking about. I didn't know if he was talking about my career as a hot dog shop owner. Of 16 years, or if he was talking about my broadcasting career of 30 years, or my working for the city for. I didn't know which career he was talking about. But if you know what I'm saying? So I'm hearing all this nonsense. So today I'm going to just tell everybody who I'm aiming at. That's the kind of guy I am. I let people know where I'm coming from.
Okay.
I heard today, Trubisky, could be a problem, and this and that, and, at Pittsburgh, and they won't get 7. Okay. Now, I understand that a lot of big-time guys that do podcasts or know that they're involved in a podcast, somebody talked about, they speed through them. Well, I'll start off from the beginning. Okay. This is my first guy. Okay. My guy, Paulie Howard. Okay. Now, they have a show on every single morning here in Chicago, okay, from 6 to 8. And then Marquis goes to the Cubs for the last. I go to 6. Walk Monday. I only see him off season. So I see him, and I'm walking the dog on Tuesdays and Thursdays and other things. So I see him about an hour and a half each day for 2 days. I don't see him on Friday. I'm working at ESPN 1000. We got other things going on. So I hear them bring up people, and I hear that they're doubting Trubisky. Although Paulie, these guys are tremendous. They save morning TV for me. There's nothing else on in the morning worth a damn. So I respect these guys. But they seem to be, and I was on with them a couple times, anti-Trubisky. Okay? And here's what I'm going to tell them. You don't have to bring me up. You don't have to do anything. But I will bring you up every single chance I get. If Trubisky is good or bad, I'll take a shot at myself. But I'm not abandoning a guy, the only winning quarterback the Bears have had in the last 5-6 years. I'm not abandoning him now that he's going to a better team. That will never happen. I think the 7.5 over-under is out of line. I think it should be over. Okay, you should take the over on that. I see that the odds for them are very high, not even win the division. 40 to 1, whatever. You just bet it, and then get rid of it on prop swap. But the nonsense that Mitch Trubisky is only going to win 7 games, we'll see. And Pickett, I'm hearing some good things from him out of camp. And then you got Rudolph. Is it possible the Steelers have 3 better quarterbacks and the Bears have 1?
No.
I mean, I'm just being honest. Well, you're saying no. You're saying no off of no basis whatsoever. Last year, Fields was a debacle. And this year, hopefully he'll be better. And here's where I get the Fields. Oh, I didn't name the other guys.
Yeah, you got to name the other guys. Dynasty.
Paulie Howard.
Okay, we got Paulie.
Don't tell me I never put effort into this show. Mitch Moss. Mitch Moss. No, he's on in the morning with Paulie Howard. Okay. On Visson. Here's my guy, Mike Lombardi. He does a show with Dave Ross on Visson. He had me on last year. He told me he wouldn't take Trubisky with a discount. About 2 weeks later, the Steelers took Trubisky with a discount. But I respect the guy because he's been an NFL guy. He's been involved in Super Bowl situations. So I respect him. In fact, this is a challenge for me to go up against such an astute observer of the National Football League who's been involved with some pretty good teams. He also said that Sam Darnold was better than Trubisky, who will now be watching Baker Mayfield go to work. Okay? So, Mike Lombardi, I'll be calling you out, or I'll be calling myself out. Okay, here's my other one. Anybody over the whole station. I believe somebody told me it's the whole station. Okay, so they'll be called out.
I love this.
whole this segment cost me about $350. You know, okay. My guys.
Carmen,
Prop Swap, AM 1000. Carmen, who told me last year, you know what? I go, Trubisky's not that bad. He goes, I'm just tired of him. Okay. Okay, so people were tired of him. People got beat down by him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not done. Aldo's having the time of his life.
I am.
You're all going down. You're all going to burn in hell. I'll make Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday look like a walk in the park. Okay? You're all going down. Not done. Oh, here's the best one of all. Here's the best one of all. Going down. Everybody wanted this. Everybody. I was alone. You know, somebody said, you ever been alone on an island? I go, all the time. All the time I'm alone on an island. So here's what I'm going to tell everybody. It's going to be fun. But here's what I want everybody to do with this debate. And I think Aldo can agree with me on this.
Okay.
Let's have fun with it. Let's have a good time. I'm not going to get, hey, Paulie Howard, you suck because you thought Trubisky, or Paulie's not going to fire back. It's 2, 3, 4, a bunch of people who have helped make my career, okay, who I disagree with. We don't have to pull out, oh, you know what, your 15 minutes are up, or, you know, then I have to go to him, well, send me your resume. You know what I mean? And we start making fun of each other. That's not the point. Who's going to be right? Of course, I remember when I was right about Cutler, but nobody will tell you that because I was the only guy that didn't want him signed. I was alone again. I didn't want Wannstedt. Alone. I didn't want Ditka fired. Most of the fan base said, you know what, we're with you. And they disagreed with the Bears. That turned out to be a debacle. Right. So I'm comfortable thinking that the Bears got rid of, I mean, I'm reading this Mike Martz stuff today. If you play Greg Olsen, I won't call a play for him or I'll make him inactive. How the hell dare you? How do you let a football team, offensive coordinator, say something like that? But this is the type of situation that Justin Fields is going to deal with, that Mitch had to deal with, that even Cutler had to deal with, and everybody in between. It's a bad organization. But the nonsense, Aldo, almost running out of breath there for a minute. The nonsense that the Bears have the worst, are going to have the worst offense in the National Football League. I'll challenge that right now. I'll challenge anybody right now. I'll put 10 grand down that they don't finish last in offense. Anybody. You open your mouths, but when it costs you money, you'll shut your mouth because the NFL media is probably the most cowardly media of them all. Think about it. They never say when they're wrong. I mean, I'm looking today. And I decided to look because they always brag about Peter King. You know?
Yep.
Peter King, I decided to look up some comments on him because he's a NFL swamp writer. He's a guy that if the McCaskey, if he's in town, they'll invite him over for Thanksgiving dinner and have him sit next to Virginia before the kids. Okay?
Wow. And
all I see is him on TV. He's Chuck Grassley. Okay? That's who Peter King is. He's Chuck Grassley. Does anybody? Oh, I'll go the other way. He's Nancy Pelosi. Their lifetime. You know what I mean? He's that. Who's the speaker of the? Who's the one from the Republican Party? The one that runs everything. The guy doesn't do anything.
Mitch McConnell. Yeah.
He's Mitch McConnell. Peter King is Mitch McConnell. I mean, I read the nonsense, okay, and I see this. And by the way, he's written a lot of good things too.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing is, he's around for a long time because he also writes good about the organizations, which is fine to do. He's a product of Ohio University, so at least he didn't go to Northwestern or Syracuse, okay? And he's had a hell of a career, okay? And I give him all the credit in the world, okay? But listen to this. This is something Bears quarterback Justin Fields impresses Peter King at training camp.
Mhm.
Okay? This is what I'm reading. How Bears quarterback Justin Fields has impressed Peter King at training camp. But then he comes back. Peter King feels Justin Fields needs to work most on his anticipation throws. Well, so he writes around the middle, but he's a big proponent of whatever the Bears do. But then I go to Trubisky with Peter King. Okay? This is dated. Okay? Let me see where this is dated from. Because it says here, Peter King, recently, okay? March 15th, 2022.
Okay.
Peter King, I think the Steelers did the smart thing. I just still have no idea if Mitch Trubisky is really any good. Where you been for 4 years? 29-21. Highest Bear-rated quarterback of all time as far as percentage throws. 2 playoff appearances in 4 years. Okay? Now he's the starter of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Where you been? Because you've been writing negatively about him, and you think Justin Fields has an arrow going up and Trubisky's arrow is still going down.
Mm-hmm.
That's not right. He's got a record that tells me differently. I've been following the NFL for 60 years. I'll debate Peter King on Mitch Trubisky any day of the week. Any day of the week. He won't be calling me. I've been on with him before. When I was doing the shows every day.
Right.
And I always knew in my heart of hearts, okay, that he's swamp, period, end of story. And it's nothing against him. He's had a fabulous career. But you can't say Fields' arrow's pointing up after what I've heard about him in camp, which has been a little bit of both. While Trubisky's doing a good job in camp, and Pickett and the rest of the guys. I give them all of them full credit. And maybe it's because of Justin's surroundings. But I would say this. I want Green Bay to tell me who they got better on their skill positions since Davante Adams left. There's only one place we don't have them better at.
Mm-hmm.
Quarterback. Period. End of story. You got a tight end better than Cole Kmet? You got a running back better than Montgomery? You got a receiver maybe now that Davante Adams is gone better than Mooney? Bring him on.
No.
Bring him on. But you have Aaron Rodgers. And don't try to tell me Detroit's got better skill position players than the Bears. This is all propaganda. Detroit's a popular pick right now, like they've been for the last 10 years. But show me their skill position players that are as good as the Bears. And the Bears are wrong. I agree with Colin Cowherd. I mean, Roquan Smith finally woke up. I'm glad he woke up. Because it tells you where the Bears are. They've never learned. And he was right about this. You don't invest $20 million on an inside linebacker. Period. End of story. So I got everything out of the way that I've held inside of me for about a month and a half. Okay?
That's
Phoebe
great.
says, honey, it's time to eat. What do you mean by that? I'm kidding. If I said to her, I'd never have another meal. But let me also say this, Aldo, in honor of you.
Okay. It's your birthday.
I'm going to be celebrating my 70th birthday, September 10th. Arnold Palmer's birthday, too. Yeah.
Nice.
45 years of marriage to this lady, October 1st.
You should be celebrating her.
Absolutely. Oh, believe me. The 45 years I've really pitched in the last few weeks. Doing good. 30 years of broadcasting, but my 15 minutes is almost up. 16 years last week sober. 16 years.
I got 6 days.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And coming up 5 years of The Odds Couple soon on ESPN 1000.
Nice.
So I am extremely blessed, but you got to do it. You got to have your health. There's only a certain amount of us that will be in our 70s, that continue to have that fastball that, 45 years, Tarian. Can't you see the one line here? It starts to go down right over the one eye. Starts to go down. But then, yeah. But believe me when I tell you this, look at the hair. Come on. Got a haircut for the show and everything. But it's been a wonderful thing. But the bar room has been huge. And I hope that everybody, Aldo and I don't know what day we're going to do the show, right, Aldo? Not yet. We don't know for the beginning of football season. But I got some special things coming up for Aldo and for me. And we're going to have some nice things for this football show. We just don't know if we're going to do it on Sunday, if we're going to do it on Thursday. I'm like the girl from The Godfather, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, you know. Then the car blew up. But that's beside the point. By the way, saw the offer on, I don't know if I've talked about it here, The Making of The Godfather, 9 episodes. Double A.
Yeah.
Double A. The guy got, I'll give one little tidbit. I don't know if I should, but maybe somebody won't see the offer for a while.
Okay.
I always thought the scene where Sonny beats up Carlo. Okay, there was some cinematic mistakes. When he's got the garbage can, you can see he misses him with the garbage can, but Carlo goes down. But it's a well choreographed scene, except for one problem. What happened was this guy Carlo, that played Carlo, he was a mob guy. Okay. In fact, me and BB were at I believe Dennis Miller concert, and Dennis Miller goes, "Hey, ladies, man, Carlo in the God with us. Let's give him a hand, huh? Stand up." The guy's, I'm like this. The guy's sitting right next to me. I didn't even know it was him. I didn't even recognize him because he looks different. But what I found out from this thing is Talia Shire, when he's hitting her in the scene in the apartment,
right,
he bruised her for real.
Really?
And she comes off the set crying. And she goes to Coppola. What happened? Then she goes to a couple assistants. Well, they have a meeting where it's Coppola and Albert Ruddy, who was the producer, and Sonny. He goes, "I want this." And he tells James Caan what happened. Just watch it. I think they did 6 takes. And they show the guy, he got a beating. They let him go to work on him. Perfect. Wow. I always wondered why it looked so. They didn't do the real ones. Okay, it looked real enough as it is, but that's one of the ones. That's a cool movie. Everybody should check it out. I think it's on Netflix. I'm not sure. There it is.
Yeah.
Oh, great! Just such a great movie. The guy that plays Bob Evans is unbelievable. Unbelievable. That's Bob Evans. The guy that I'm a big Bob Evans fan. Huge. It was a no-brainer. Gianni Russo played him. The guy's sitting right next to me. I didn't even know it. Thanks for that, buddy. Thanks, PZ. That's it. You got to check it out, Aldo. So I'm going to tell you.
Definitely. I'm a big Godfather fan, and I love anything that's about movie making. I watch just about anything.
You like this almost as much as Godfather. I like Godfather 2 better than Godfather 1, but you'll like this as much as the other 3. That's 9 episodes. So anyway.
Great.
I feel like that's the end of the show. Take care of yourself and bye. No.
Okay, hold on before you leave.
No, I'm not going anywhere.
No, I know. All right. So here's the thing regarding Trubisky. I want to get your take on this because Mike Tomlin, the Steelers head coach, has still not announced a game 1 starter. And it appears that he's holding the window or door open just a bit to see if Pickett can earn this job. So I'm asking you, how confident are you that Trubisky is going to take that first snap in game 1? Plus, how confident, or not how confident, but how do you feel about the fact that, again, Mitch Trubisky is being handed a bad set of cards where he's got to look over his shoulder all the time?
You know what? That's why you're one of the best, because you're at least honest about the whole situation. When I heard the other day from Adam Schefter, when I heard Adam say, that if he makes one mistake and he's grinning, I'm going to myself, are you kidding me? So even if he's 2-0, they would do the same thing the Bears would do.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to happen. I believe it will take more than one interception.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Tomlin is a winning pedigree Super Bowl coach. Matt Nagy was seen hugging Justin Fields, where Justin Fields basically didn't even want any part of him and basically said, see you later, because it was a dark point for a bad beginning for him. My deal about Mitch is if he plays the whole season, they'll get the over 7.5 because it's just all the negativity about him over the last 5 years. I can't fight ESPN. I can't fight the radio stations that I helped make famous, helped form. I can't help the one I work at, except when I'm there, I can give my 2 cents in when I have the opportunity. Okay? I cannot fight a Peter King. I can't, but what I can do is call them out and read old clippings. I think for a man that's been following football like Peter King, to say a guy with a 29-21 record with twice as many touchdowns as interceptions and the highest quarterback rating of all time, saying he doesn't know if Mitch Trubisky's a good quarterback or not, is a fraudulent thing to say in my world. I don't give a damn where if he's I find out about the college graduates. They're most of them are squares. That's a square take because there's people already saying now, wish the Giants had Trubisky. I'm starting to hear Paulie Howard today in his defense say, you know what? What happens if Trubisky starts doing well? I think people are starting to catch on, in my opinion, that he was good, but he was sabotaged by the Bear organization and Matt Nagy, and Ryan Pace begrudgingly went along with it. But here's where I'm going to say I feel bad for Justin, too. Because I believe if they had even better players around him, he's still 50-50. He could be who? I don't know who he could be. Who does he remind me of? Nobody right now. But he could be a Kyler Murray type, or he could be a Baker Mayfield type, but he could also be an Andre Ware type. Okay? Yeah. So let's quit pretending that we're set there. And you know what? It was interesting what Aldo said, because Aldo said, well, what happens if because of the competition he doesn't start? Well, at least there's competition. Justin Fields was handed the job. Look at his stats from last year and say in any profession, where a man would be handed a job with that kind of resume off his first year, you have to have competition. And if you don't have competition and you just hand them the job, it's almost like they want to rid themselves. He's not their guy. And I looked at Trevor Siemian, for instance. He's looked just as good. So I just want to win. That was my whole thing. I didn't care if you were talking about Cutler and McCown. I always wanted McCown that 1 year to keep starting. Cutler came back. We didn't make the playoffs. You got to quit. The Bears got to quit looking at they got to quit looking at status in the draft. They got to quit looking at how much money somebody makes. I just found it odd that 2 guys that didn't draft Justin Fields decide not to have any competition, because I know Trevor Siemian can play, but not that good. But that's the same way it is for a lot of quarterbacks in the league. I mean, I'm looking at San Francisco. They're starting to say Trey Lance might not be all that. How do you crap on Garoppolo, who took you to the Super Bowl, who took you to the Final Four last year? How do you crap on him? And in the meantime, praise others that haven't done half. It's just crazy. It really is. So Matthew, we'll see what happens. I hope Justin does well, but he was handed a bad set of keys to the first car.
Yeah, I hear you. Matthew Forchisi says, first-round quarterbacks normally get handed jobs, and I agree with that. I mean, even Mitch Trubisky, when he's with the Bears, they brought in veteran quarterbacks to help tutor him, not to really compete with him until Nagy felt that his job was on the line, and then he brought in Nick Foles and Andy Dalton, of all people, to compete with Mitchell Trubisky.
You know what Nagy's mistake was? He had a quarterback that was 25-13 with him, regardless of how good the defense is. How do you have a competition? But I got to hear about no competition for Fields. He had a 25-13 quarterback that has never thrown a pick six, has 6 touchdowns in the game. He wasn't happy with them. And you know what convinced me? I was going to bring this up earlier, and I got sidetracked, which happens to me often. I remember Nick Foles arguing on the sidelines with Nagy. Mm-hmm. I know now because I remember Yurko telling me, John Yurkovich, he knows as much about football as anybody, saying, watch the tape with Foles, Mike. He'll kick ass. Watch the tape. But then when I saw Foles arguing with Nagy, it was almost like, let me play my game. And Nagy never let these guys play their game. Yet the only guy that came out a winner was Mitch Trubisky. And you had a quarterback that was 25-13, and you decide to have a competition, and you're out of work and getting coffee for Andy Reid now. So you deserve what happened to you, period.
Yep. It's a good point. And Jeff Gross says, thank you, Mike. I hope Mitch gets a legit chance. But again, he's starting behind the 8 ball. The NFL hates Trubisky.
They hate him. I have never seen such a nice kid get crapped on, man, ever. And all his teammates, the Bear teammates loved him. The Steelers swear by him. And by the way, it's 99% he's starting the first game unless he gets hurt. I'll say that right now. You don't do it the other way, dummies.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you don't do it that way. You don't take the first-year guy, and if he craps the bed his first 3 games, go to the guy that was supposed to be your guy. Are we going to make this? The Steelers don't make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Tomlin is pedigree. Okay? Nagy cleans the birdcage out in Andy Reid's office. Okay? And he doesn't even have a bird.
Excuse me.
That was good, wasn't it? I'm like Joe. There's nobody there. That was good, wasn't it? Thank you.
That is great. All right, I want to share something with you here in terms of odds for winning the MVP vote. So Vegas Insider has Josh Allen at plus 650, Patrick Mahomes at plus 750, Brady at plus 800, Rodgers at plus 85, Justin Herbert 900, Burrow 1200, Prescott 1300, Stafford 1400. The first running back on the board at 5,000, and then we get to the first receiver, Cooper Kupp at 5,000. Back to the quarterbacks, Kirk Cousins, Mac Jones, Tua Tagovailoa at 5,000, and then Mitch Trubisky at plus 6,000, and then it's not until we get to plus 8,000 that we see Justin Fields' name. Do you think that these odds are, do you like any number? If you say, hey, Aldo, you got an extra $100, bet on these guys or this guy.
Listen, you take Mitch at 6,000, then you buy it from PropSwap, okay?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because Luke Pregandi has already explained there's 32 quarterbacks in the league, and you're getting him at 60 to 1 on a pretty good football team. Yeah. Let's say the Steelers start out at 5-1. Let's say they start out hot. You can either keep that ticket or somebody will be happy to buy it from you for more money than you purchased it for. You'll make a profit. You'll make a profit off of what you sold it for. And then if you want to bet Mitch again, his odds then would have lowered if they're 5-1 or 4-2. They might go down to 30 to 1. Then you buy him at that. But if I buy Justin Fields, you can buy Justin Fields for $50. Take a flyer on it. I did and by the way, folks, if you want me to MC anything, just send me a direct message because I found out there's some pretty good money in it. I MC'd the NFL, an NFL Hall of Fame dinner at the Barrington Country Club with my good friend David Spada was up there, a bunch of people. And it was for orphanages in Mexico to help fund them. And I ran into Doug Plank and into Jimbo Covert.
Saw those pictures. Nice.
Yeah. Jimbo, Robert Brazil. And the thing they like is that I know the history of all of them, especially the black colleges. Robert Brazil came up, all these guys, Al Harris. Man, you know I played with Walter Payton. Robert, I go, of course I know at Jackson State you played with Walter Payton. And then Al Harris came up and thanked me for knowing Well, that's what they liked about me. They asked me back for a second year. When they do that, I had to raise the price a little bit, Aldo. That's only common, you know.
Absolutely.
But they've had people like Larry King and Bob Costas. They haven't been asked back. I was honored to be asked back by this great organization. But Al Harris said to me, he said, Mike, the Bears are going to win more than 6.5 games. He said, they're going to win more than 6.5 games. Did you see their schedule? And I've said the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
He says they got a new coaching staff. They're putting their eggs, and this is where he agrees with Fields. Look, you might as well find out. Okay. Mm-hmm. And he said that he thinks that the Bears will win more than 6.5 games. And if you look at the Bears schedule, it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy to see that could happen. But what we're going to need is short field. We're going to need some turnovers. When the Bears have a good year or even a halfway decent year, they get turnovers. And if they don't, we get killed. Okay. I don't believe, and I'm with you on not believing that, or I don't know if you're with me. I don't believe the Bears skill position players are the worst in football. That's my opinion. ESPN has the Bears ranked 33rd.
Sorry. Good stuff.
Yeah. Besides behind Northwestern, I guess. You know what they actually do? The media in this country lies about everything. I don't care what side you're on. Mm-hmm. They lie about things, and it's football too. There's been a swamp in NFL football made up of guys for years that have websites that jump around. You got guys like Collinsworth now involved, and Mike Florio, and guys like that. They don't want to debate me. Mm-hmm. They don't want to debate me because I know everything. I saw all these guys play. I see nonsense that this guy's the best defender of all time. I saw him play. He isn't. Or this guy's the best offensive player. No. I see Jerry Rice, who's 7th and so getting be the best player ever. Just like that. I'm confident. If I take the Bears and the Steelers over, both of them, mm-hmm. The worst happens is even. The worst. One of them's going to go over. I think there's a chance both of them go over.
All right, we've got a challenger here, CBP Film. FN Mike North, I will debate you anytime your knowledge is.
What's FK mean?
FK?
What's FK mean?
I think it's a dirty word.
Well, screw him. I'm not going to debate him. He's got no class. Look how he starts off with. I might have debated him, but he loses right now. The knowledge you're lacking is the knowledge of trying to get in the door. That's why you got to go by a different name. You don't go by your real name. You could have gotten in the door with me and you decide right off the bat how stupid you really are. So that's out.
I think he just lost the debate right there.
He lost the debate. You're done. That's how you start things out. You want me to debate you? You lose. You lost already.
I love it.
You think you're telling me I was on street corners before they were cement. Don't try me.
We have a debate show here at the Barroom Network Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. I'm gonna ask you to come on and debate the person of your choice. The challenge for you, Mike, though, is going to be
the person of choice.
Who would you like to debate? Yeah, first and foremost.
Well, I've debated every guy, and sometimes when you debate on somebody else's shows, you never get back on. Mm-hmm. That's the bottom line. You won't see me as a regular on any shows because if you tell me right off the bat, like Mitch Trubisky isn't that good, I'll tell you 10 reasons he is, and then you got your hands on your balls, and then you're saying, and then you tell the producer, I don't want him on anymore. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm gonna reach out to you sometime in the.
I don't want no script.
No script. What we do on the show, and I'd be happy to change the format, but I ask 4 questions, and each of the debaters has 60 seconds to respond, and then.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah, it's for you.
No, you know what? Just like Stephen A. Smith. Okay, they have a script. Okay,
all right.
He has a chance with me. A chance with the script. Without the script, he'll be looking up at the lights. Period. That's it.
1, 2.
There's only one guy that would give me a tussle on that show. Mad Dog.
He's good.
But if you don't tell Mad Dog and me, what's on the script, then it's an even fight. I'll give him that. I'll give Mad Dog that. It's an even fight. But, for instance, last week I heard him say that Watson got they did what they had to do. The 11 games was fair. That's basically what he said. I would have knocked him out on that one. That would have been gone. He would have been gone. But see, there's reasons certain people don't get on those shows because Mad Dog's great. Mad Dog's an original. He's the only guy, and the show's better because of him. I
agree. I totally agree. All right, I want to turn our attention to baseball because Tony La Russa is an enigma. I think maybe that's the best way to describe him. Hall of Fame manager, comes to the Chicago White Sox for the second time with incredible credentials. His good buddy Jerry Reinsdorf offers him a chance. It's more redemption for Jerry Reinsdorf because Reinsdorf was always guilty that he allowed Hawk Harrelson to fire him. And he comes back. There's a lot of promise, a lot of doubters too about La Russa, whether at his age he could take the team to the promised land, so to speak. How do you feel now about Tony given the season and a half plus that he's been manager of the White Sox?
I think I'm very disappointed in him for a lot of reasons this year. Last year, I was very thrilled for him. This year, I wanted him back. I'm disappointed because of his lack of discipline on his baseball team, the lack of hustle on his baseball team. I'm disappointed because of his moves, the 1 and 2 counts, just giving the guy a base. It seems like he's scared by stats. I'm disappointed in him because he's not pushing his players to play. Okay. I think there's too much of a convenient out now. Eloy misses again. You can't be that soft and be that big. I mean, he played 110-pound games in his previous 2 years, and he's just a mess to me. I don't like the fact they wear different color shoes. I think every team should wear a uniform. If you think that's not fine, try getting a job at Disney World and wear a Knott's Berry Farm shirt. You'll be fired in a day. Try getting a job with United Airlines and come in a plaid shirt as the pilot. You'll be fired. There's a uniform. No yellow spikes, Mancata. You stink. You should be in fact, you shouldn't be allowed to wear spikes until you hit 250. You play in your bare feet. He's got a bunch. Listen. Here's another thing. And Eldo knows this. I'm glad I'm talking to a man that is Puerto Rican. Okay. You have 3 Spanish-speaking coaches on that team out of 12 guys. The 2 of them are from Venezuela. The other guy's Tony La Russa from Tampa. How do you not have a Cuban coach when 20% of your roster is Cuban? When a couple, they're in love with these Cuban ball players. And I'll be honest with you, outside of Abreu, I'm nonplussed by them because they can't play with any discomfort. They got the big money. It's hard to come from a place like that. And is baseball all that good that every guy that we draft is almost every top player comes in and looks good in the minor leagues, like this kid Cola, but then they get up to the majors and they're just average. So I'm watching and I'm seeing just a sourpuss on Mancata. Okay. I didn't say Cuban manager. I said a Cuban coach.
Okay.
See, that's not what I said. Okay. But I just don't believe that there's not a Cuban coach on the team because those guys are from an island. They're young guys. It would be nice to have a 50-year-old mentor. Okay. Now I looked up. Who could they be? Jose Contreras runs the minor league operations. Eldo's going, I can't believe that you give this guy a couple days. He's on fire. Jose, but you don't want Jose Contreras. You know why? He's a Reinsdorf Bobo. And he'll go back. And you don't want to tell Miguel Cairo anything, who's one of La Russa's coaches, or the bullpen coach who's, okay? You don't want to do that because you know what Miguel Cairo will do? He'll go tell La Russa. You need a Cuban coach on that team next year. I think it would be a tremendous help to these young ball players. Okay. I don't know if that's even been broached. I know I broached it on the odds couple. Carmen seemed to say that would not be a bad idea. I mean, it's like having a team from Humboldt Park and you got everybody from Edison Park. You got coaches from Edison Park coaching the team from Humboldt Park. It don't make no sense. You know what I'm saying? Aldo knows exactly what I'm talking about. You got a team from Deerfield and you're bringing the coaches from the Jackie Robinson All-Stars to coach them. You need something in common from at least. That's why the NBA, when I coached in high school, I was the players coach. I kept things to myself unless there was a serious problem. I fixed it. That's what a mentor can do, period.
Totally agree with you. You know, a lot of people think that if, they got Latino coaches already, then no, this is totally different.
Well, what do you know? Now, you're from Puerto Rico.
Right.
Or your parents, your mom, and everybody. Okay. I went to Puerto Rico. I do know this. If I go to Venezuela, I'll have a different experience. That's just me.
100%.
I don't care if you speak Spanish. You got to know that there's a guy there that after a tough 0 for 4, a Mancada can go, man, I wish I could be. Oh, you're doing okay. Yeah, I was just thinking about my mother. She lives in a certain town in Cuba. Then nobody else would know except the mentor. Okay? So that's all I'm talking about. The Jefferson. Now we're going to get coaches. Yeah, the Jefferson Park coaches in Douglas Park, or the Washington Park coaches coaching in Skokie. You know what I'm saying? So just get me one Cuban coach, please, that knows where to go. Maybe a guy. I remember Cuban coaches, Cuban ball players before these guys know all the spots to go for food, know everything else, you know? So that's all I'm telling you.
Are the White Sox going to make the playoffs?
Doesn't look good. I got to be honest. I'm disappointed in Russa. I'm disappointed in the players. I'm disappointed in Kenny Williams. I had to listen, as Aldo knows. This is why, if we bring back everything I was right about, Aldo's going to be working for 3 months. I told them not to take Grandel. Right here on this show. We were on the air the day it happened. Aldo, I said to Aldo, don't ever forget this moment. We're paying more money for Grandel than any White Sox player in history, and we have an all-star catcher. We didn't need him, and we wasted our money on him. Even last year, when he went 2 for 14 in the playoffs, he's never been the player that has been advertised. He was supposed to be the number 1 catcher on 3 teams, and they got rid of the first 2, Milwaukee, the Dodgers, now the Sox. I mean, that's not good. That was a bad investment. I think Rodon was a mistake. I didn't say it's a mistake at the time, so I'm not going to say I was nonplussed by it. But now I'm watching him strike out 10, 12 guys for the Giants. So that was a bad decision. So we made some mistakes front office wise. The manager now, you asked me about Tony La Russa. If they got rid of him tomorrow, I would have no defense for the guy this year. He's let the players dictate them. It's like he almost wants to be like woke. He doesn't want to bother anybody. He wants them to do whatever they want to do. It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Is Kenny Williams stealing money?
Oh,
what does he do? I don't know.
He's in charge. Anybody that thinks Rick Hahn can make any moves without the approval of Kenny Williams doesn't know the Reinsdorf way. I should write a book, The Reinsdorf Way. Here's how it works. Bulls, Sox, Reinsdorf. Bulls, back in the day, Paxson, Kenny Williams, or AK. Okay? And then Gar Forman back in the day. I don't even know who's third in charge now. And with the White Sox, you have Reinsdorf, Kenny Williams, and Rick Hahn, period. And Rick Hahn couldn't make a move to pick up a guy on waivers for $10 without the approval of Kenny Williams, period. He's the executive vice. He's got the same title Jerry Krause had when he ran the Bulls. Executive vice president.
I would definitely read that book. I want to ask you about the Reinsdorf Way or the Reinsdorf Rules. I like that title. Right.
It's basically designed to make money for your investors, to have your team be competitive, to only win 1 World Series in 31, 32 years, where that's an abomination. That's just an abomination when you're the number 2 market. You really shrunk your market. You made some mistakes at the beginning. You had some good years, but not enough. And as an owner, from the ballpark that was done wrong to begin with to everything else, he gets a D+. He gets a D+ from me. I'm sorry. And this is the latest debacle, and I'm very surprised at Russa. But Russa has become softer. But don't forget, folks, he only won 53% of his games in 3 World Series. So you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. Like I said in my video, you may think you're good, but 3 World Series in all the years you've been managing, and you've lost as many as you've won. Okay? So it's a tough racket, but I think if they replaced them, and who are they going to replace him with? I mean, they were going to hire A.J. Hinch. Okay? That's who Hahn wanted. He's a debacle. And I predicted that. I go, don't go after a cheater or a fixer. Don't go after a fixer. They went after the fixer. They're like 25, 30 games under 500. Detroit, they're starting to play some decent ball, but they were supposed to win over and under 78 games. They fired the GM. Hinch is the same manager he was in Arizona. And Ozzie Guillen, they're never bringing him back. I don't think they'll ever bring Ozzie back. So there was nobody else to turn to, in my opinion, at that point, okay, than Tony La Russa, period. Because Girardi. Since Girardi's on marquee again, maybe one day he'll spend time telling us how after he got fired, Philly's been 20 games over 500. Okay? So it don't matter about what you did in the past. Okay? So Tony La Russa off of this year, it's 50-50 whether I'd bring him back or not. I'd have to talk to him at the end of the season.
Over on the north side, the Cubs, every once in a while, I see them play well against the Cardinals. The other day, they won a 2-0 game, I believe. But and then they get into these 5-6 game losing streaks, and they look pathetic. What do you think is the immediate future of this team?
Don't win in 2 years.
Really?
I think they can. I think they can win the division. I think they can make the playoffs in 2 years. Here's my totals. I took under Detroit because of their manager, 78.5. That's a winner. I'm going to win that. I took under Boston because of their manager, Fixer. Last minutes, AF under. They have a great team. And I took the over 90. We'll see if they can do that. They've won 9 of their last 11. They're on a roll. Okay? And I took the Cubs over 74.5. I think the Cubs, if they win today, it will be their 5th straight series that they won. And they're on a road to get me that 74 when it looked desperate before All-Star break. They've won 5 series if they win today in a row. And playing the Cardinals at 2-2 with Stroman going today, I think is a very good thing. And here's another thing. If Jerry Reinsdorf, you're gonna die when you hear this. But Aldo's heard things from me before. He should have died 1,000 times before. He just chattels through it.
That's right.
If David Ross, if they fired La Russa and the Sox hired David Ross, I'd be fine with it. But I would also I think the coaching staff has to be looked at. You know, you got Darryl Boston, you got McEwing. I have no interest in him. There's a lot of guys that are Tony La Russa lifers that would have to go to.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
they're playing good ball.
I still believe that you should be a general manager of one of Chicago's sports teams.
We would have won 2 Super Bowls already. We would have won. We wouldn't have won it. You can't, because you can't do your own thing. You know, I did my own thing at the one state. It worked out. You got to be able to do your own thing. Remember, it depends who's your boss, how successful you're going to be. I mean, I look at the Bears. You know, she's the matriarch of the National Football League and one of the worst owners. But they won't say that. They won't say that because it's Virginia. I respect Virginia McCaskey, but sorry, you have the worst stadium deal going. You have a team that's considered by far the worst. How much heat does she go under? How much heat do the McCaskies go under? None. That's my point. It's the players. It's Mitch. It's Justin. It's this. It's that. How much heat? Because she's older. She's a woman. She's a matriarch. She inherited the team. Good. But you go by your record. I don't care if you're man, woman, whatever. And as an owner, it's been a debacle. Just like Jerry Reinsdorf. You can't treat one guy this way and treat the other person that way. Her, McCaskey and Reinsdorf, they got one apiece, period. And the same with the Cubs. So let's not pretend that she's all that, okay? And her football people aren't all that, as we know.
Renewable wants to know your opinion on Bears general manager Ryan Poles.
I don't understand the no competition for Fields. I think that's like when the Seattle Seahawks had Matt Flynn. If they had no competition, Russell Wilson would have never been the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
If they said, we signed you for $45 million, so you're the quarterback no matter what, because we invested. That's how this thing works. And so, in my opinion, I think Ryan Poles and Eberflus are the junior Indianapolis Colts. That's what they are. They were junior executives. Polian made the decision to pick them from his organization. So I know he's familiar with them. I don't know what kind of search they went through, but it wasn't much. It wasn't much. So we'll see what happens. I'm willing to give them a chance, but you should have competition. If there's competition everywhere else, there should be competition at the number one position, in my opinion.
All right. So Bears over 6.5 or under? Over. I like it.
And over Steelers. And if anybody says, oh, you don't like Justin Fields, why am I taking the over? He's one of the reasons. But I'm not going to cry about the fact that they got rid of Trubisky. That's over with. That's a mistake that they're going to have to live with. Especially if Pittsburgh has a good year. And even if they don't, I think, man, their defense looks good. Their receivers, he's playing with more talent around him than he ever did here, period. To be honest with you. So I like both. I like both overs. I'm hoping the Sox can get it done. The Cubs keep winning. I'm a Chicago guy. I want them to win. I do not root against the Bears. That's my number one thing. If anybody thinks I want Justin Fields to get drilled like he did a couple weeks ago by holding on to the ball too long, but the problem is if he gets hurt and Trevor Siemian came in, how much of a drop-off will there be? Not much, because he's still young and he's playing under a different regime again. So we'll see what happens. They're all green, but this nonsense that they're the worst offense in football, I'll bet anybody they're not. I don't care if you want to go points, yards, or whatever. Go the Jets, Atlanta, Texans. There's a lot of teams that, in my opinion, will be lower than our guys, period.
You and I are diehard Chicago fans. We will root for Chicago teams to the day we pass.
That's right.
But when it comes to gambling, we will make some exceptions. So I want you to take a look at the odds to win the NFC North. The Packers at -182, the Vikings at +265, the Lions +900, the Bears +1400. I got $100 that I'm going to bet on who's going to win the NFC North. I unfortunately just can't put that $100 on the Bears. Who of the other three teams do you think I should bet on?
I take the three teams. I'll bet 100 on Minnesota, 100 on Detroit, and 100 on the Bears. And if Green Bay, if Rodgers gets hurt, or if they're skilled, you can't lose Devontae Adams and have be -182. They're crapping on this kid. The guy was great. Okay, all of a sudden, he goes somewhere else, and then Aaron Rodgers is complaining about the receivers. Now I know this. Aaron Rodgers complaining about the receivers in public. He gets their attention, and he's the guy that makes them better. But I wouldn't bet. Maybe this is the year that something happens, because there's no one man outside of Brady more responsible for Green Bay looking this good than Aaron Rodgers. Maybe this is a bum year, but I would take the other three teams and hope one of them hits.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there.
Yeah. Even if you bet 20 apiece on those three teams.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would bet, I'd put 100 on them, on each, and you know what? You enjoy the games. You know what I did? Like I said earlier, I haven't made a baseball bet this year because I've been betting every night because of the over and unders. That's what I will come back with when we do our next show.
Okay.
And I will give you 4 over and unders that make it for you. You don't have, if you put 100 on a team, 500, 1,000 on a team, you bet 20 on a team, maybe that's like $80. You just we relax and watch your 4 teams play every single week if you want. But then again, we'll have some games like I do now, Aldo. I got some big games today.
Ooh,
Aldo's going, you have a game?
I need to make some money. I got a grandchild.
I know. Congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Jackson.
Jackson.
Boots.
I'm going to Jackson. Jackson, here I come. Yeah, baby. Who sang that? Johnny Cash sang it with June Carter Cash, right. But also, who else sang it? I'm going to Jackson, Jackson, here I come. Remember that song?
Yeah,
Nancy Sinatra and Lee Hazelwood.
Look at that!
It was pretty good. It was pretty good.
I remember Nancy Sinatra. These boots are made for walking, but I don't remember the other person you just mentioned.
I just remember the old neighborhood. I bet you at Humboldt Park, those Nancy Sinatra albums are going out like hotcakes.
That's right. Into the garbage.
Yeah. It's like walking into a record shop in Inglewood and asking, is there any Streisand records here? Okay. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. Boston plus 160. Just take. I got to get to the odds here because I've been doing stuff with my my iPad here, which I've become rather adept at. Because basically, okay, here we go. The Boston Red Sox, okay, today, and they've been struggling. They got a kid named Cutter Crawford, and they're playing Toronto. Toronto's 8-1 at Fenway this year against Boston. But I'm going to buy the 1.5 in the Boston Red Sox at minus 115, okay, with Cutter Crawford, who really sucks, and Kevin Gausman, who's pretty good. But it's baseball. It's baseball. So any given day. I mean, you see what the Cubs are doing now. Nobody expected that, okay? And then I'm also going to take in that game the under 9 in the Toronto Blue Jays game. So that is the same game, under 9 and the 1.5 for minus 115. Hope it works out with the and I'm taking, by the way, the plus 1.5 on this is going to be for Boston. Remember, not Toronto.
Mm-hmm. Mike, those are great picks. I've written them down, and I'm going to call my bookie.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
On my app. But before we go, I want
How about this Thursday night football? You know what? Hey, I'm sorry. Thursday night football, I can find it, but who cares?
I know.
I look at Twitter, who scores? That's it. Why should I have to look for an NFL game? Seriously. You're out of your minds, and it's not just the older people. There's somebody in their 40s that be looking, what the hell's going on? I keep hearing, I can't find this, Oh, what's wrong? Like old people can't find it. Wait, there's a lot of people that can't.
That's greedy.
Greed kills. You want to kill. Go. I could forego Troy Aikman on Thursday night on Amazon Prime. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't want to be shopping for my boots and then use that same app to watch a football game. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Hey, that's right. I just got a glow-in-the-dark ornament for Christmas, and I'm watching the Bears.
Chris Walker that he needed those winners because the middle-aged housewives are getting bored of him, so he needs some
yeah,
money.
You're Clark Gable, Chris. You're a regular Clark Gable, no doubt about it. Errol Flynn, DiCaprio. We can go all night long. Denzel, all night long. Chris Watts.
Mike, before we go, show people that T-shirt you're wearing because it is really super duper. Look at that.
Oh, it's the shirt I got at Nakatomi Plaza after going to the party.
Christmas party.
It's Die Hard. By the way, my brother-in-law Kenny says to me, Die Hard 2 is as good as Die Hard. I've never seen any other Die Hard but one. I just have that belief that was one of the best. But he says Die Hard 2 is as good. Have you seen Die Hard 2?
Yes, I have, and I have to agree with him. It is
really.
Yep.
I'll watch it. I'll watch it. I'm going to give it a look. I'm getting some. You guys know your movie, so I'll give it a look. That's awesome. Okay, cool. Die Hard 2.
That's a good way to stop this show. Mike and I have a meeting coming up, and so we'll know our schedule moving forward, and we'll announce it at North to North and at Barroom Network. And Mike, let people know about your ESPN schedule.
ESPN Fridays. That's right. I'm winning again. It's crazy, isn't it?
I love it.
You know, when you think of guys that are good in their 70s, which I will be, you think, for me, I think of Jagger. You know,
Mhm.
I think of Tony Bennett, 95, 96. Of course, he's singing now in the shower, and he thinks he's in front of a stadium, from what I understand.
You're terrible.
But I feel bad for him. But what a career he's had. Okay.
Yes.
Who else? 70s. Well, the Who. You know, who else is out there? Gene Hackman's in his 90s. He's an author.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That is hilarious.
what can I tell you? I'm going to hit that mark and just hope that you got to have good luck. You got to have some luck.
Yes,
You know, and a good wife that cooks decent meals.
That's right.
If you're eating Taco Bell in your 60s, so long, everybody.
Luckiest day of your life was when you met me.
Oh.
Sure.
The rest is a blur. Believe me. Love
All
you,
right.
buddy.
Love you too, brother.
See you guys.